What is up, y'all? It's Brittany Chanel. You already know. So today I'm going to be doing an inspirational talk. If you're one of my older subscribers, you know that I've done this on my channel. There's actually like a whole inspirational talk playlist. So I was watching like on Netflix, I was watching like romantic comedies and stuff like that. And just thinking about how love is portrayed. Like, love is so romanticized, it's so dramatic, it's so like the words and things that we use to describe love, there's an actual problem. I really don't think people see how love is actually portrayed like so much in an unhealthy way. Like, I mean, I don't know if you all ever had to read like Macbeth or Romeo and Juliet, but just think about the story of like Romeo and Juliet. Like there's this they don't want to be separated, but Romeo is banished from Verona. And so the girl, because she cannot live without him, she wants to commit suicide. Like, I mean, the expectations of love when it's like portrayed in the words that are used to describe love. Like, okay, let's look at it this way. When people describe that they're in love, they say they're falling in love. But when you fall, what do? You get back up. Like you kind of like, it's when you fall, it's kind of short-lived. So basically throughout my life, like I've always used like positive affirmations, like speaking positivity, that sort of things, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. Okay, whatever you sow, that whatever a man soweth, that shall he reap. So I be trying to speak blessings and not curses. I be trying to speak positivity and speak things into existence, right? So I'm just thinking about it, because if you look at like words, spelling, it's serious. Like, your words have meaning and power behind them. So I think that a lot of people, we don't achieve a lot of things in life because we sell ourselves short. We use these words to describe ourselves in our relationships. Just think about how people put their relationship statuses and stuff up on Facebook. They put complicated on a relationship. Like, the words that we use, like, okay, like, prime example, people describe love like it's such a dramatic, painful addiction. Like, I mean, seriously, like, people just say that they're madly in love. And if you look at the word madly or madness is the state of being mentally ill. Okay, it's an extreme, severe, like, mental illness when you say that you're mad about a person. Like, that's how people describe love. Like, they say that they're smitten. Smitten means to literally to struck down, to lay down, to suffer, to be affected, afflicted, plagued. Like, love should not be described as these words, but people describe love as these words. I mean, I feel like it almost sets the stage, especially like if there's any young women or like young men watching, that, I mean, even when you look at like, other songs like Tell Me How I'm Supposed to Breathe with No Air, and, people saying that you're my everything and you're my world and stuff like that. I'm just like, the way that these people describe love, it's so just unhealthy if you think about it. It's super unhealthy. Words have power behind them, people. A lot of people be wondering why their relationships and stuff don't work out, because the basis, the foundations that people are basing them off of, even how they're describing this, they're saying it in the natural, but it's being manifested in the spiritual and the natural, because words are like, you are putting agreements, contracts out there. You're putting all of this in the atmosphere, and people don't even realize this. This is so crazy. Oh, and speaking of the word crazy, like, I mean, how many of us have been sitting there, as a single woman or single guy or whatever you are, listening to your favorite like song, and then Beyonce comes on and she's talking about crazy, she's crazy in love, but when you think about being the word crazy, it's like mentally deranged. It says especially as manifested in a wild or aggressive way. And so basically, when I watch these movies, it's like two people in love. It's like this passion, this aggressiveness, but it's almost like in an unhealthy way. I'm sorry, you all. I feel like love is supposed to be unconditional. It's supposed to be collaborative. It's supposed to be a partnership. It's supposed to be great communication. It's gonna be pain, but there's pain with power. Not when I say it's gonna be pain, I don't mean like it's supposed to be abusive or anything like that. It's not supposed to be abusive. It's just sometimes when there's disagreements with somebody, because there's two different personalities, there might be some things said, or there might be like some stuff like that. But I also just realized that it's just like even when I'm listening to Drake, Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. Like, that means that there's no separation. And in a relationship, you need separateness. Not like, as literal separation. But like a lot of times, like relationships, I notice they end because people kind of are not themselves because there's no time for separation. It's like the people in this euphoric state, because the way that love is portrayed is like some type of like addiction, some type of like painful addiction, and then when you lose it, you're going through withdrawals. Like the metaphors and the words that in the language that is used to describe love relationships, I feel is terrible, y'all. Like, I don't want to fall in love. I want to be immersed in love. Like, I want, a true experience. And I also, this and that is getting on my nerves. Anyway, but I don't want to, I don't want to be smitten. I don't want to, when you say the word smitten, that means that you're plagued with something. Like, it should be a positive experience. Does anybody understand? Like, put it in the comment section below what I'm trying to say. This is just extremely, like, not healthy. Like, look, y'all, I'm just going to use one of these metaphors. And I was looking at these love metaphors on thethoughtcode.com, right? So it describes love as like a fierce flame, right? And love's flame is superior to physical law in that the less ventilation it has, the more fiercely it burns. What is ventilation but obtaining air, okay, to breathe? So this is the way that love is described. Not to say that this is not like a cool, like, metaphor or a poem, but I don't want to trip. I don't want to fall in love. I don't want to, like, and people, please understand, like, if you're on a low frequency, then you're going to think I mean literal, but I really feel like words and defining things are important. Like, if you're dealing with somebody, and it's like, literally, there's been studies on what I'm saying too, and we can talk about it on here, but literally, when people like break up with people, or when people are in relationships, and when they're in love, there's hormones that are released, and when they're out of love, it's almost like similar to a drug withdrawal almost. So obviously, love is very important, and the words that define love is just extremely important. Extremely important. That's what I'm learning. Like, this inspirational talk, is basically just going to be the pre-talk to the words to describe love, because I think that there should be some healthier ways to describe love, okay? Because it's definitely, I feel like, with the love that's portrayed in the movies, it's like, two people, they come together, they can't live without each other. The love, the passion is just like, I can't breathe, you are my air type stuff. And it's just like, that's so unhealthy. Like, how many teens and youth do we see that the expectations of love that they have are like so unrealistic, and the way that they describe love is just so unrealistic? A healthy relationship, there's going to be compromise, there's going to be collaboration, there's going to be taking turns with different stuff. Of course, there's going to be sacrifice, because you can't get everything that you want when you're dealing with another person. Like, you have to compromise. But, this, to me, I definitely feel like people should kind of take a look at like how they describe their love life, because words are powerful. I mean, come on now. Think about it. Spelling. You spell words. These words, they cast spells. They mean something. So if you're thinking about your life, because like think about this. People just literally describe themselves as a hopeless romantic. Like, did you know? Like, I mean, I'm literally listening to people that, like, when I'm going on Tumblr or Reddit and these different sites, like, if you look up the word hopeless, like, let's look up the definition of a hopeless romantic. I want to look up the definition of this, guys, because, I mean, I really feel like I'm on to something here. Okay, so a hopeless romantic is an expression describing a person whose romantic notions about life, life equals love, and that sort of thing. But I just want to look up hopeless first, because you always have to look up the etymology of words, because words can mean something that you had absolutely no idea that they meant. And you have, when you say certain stuff, it puts that it comes into fruition. It comes into existence. So feeling or causing despair about something, desperate, like, oh my God, like just think about some of the songs, love songs that you've probably even sung in your car, getting ready for work, and you just, bad, awful, terrible. These are all synonyms, by the way. Inadequate, incompetent. So you put hopeless in front of the word romantic. Let's look up the word romantic, y'all, because they didn't really describe it on that last definition. I'm looking up both words separate. So romantic is basically an expression of love. So it could be loving, amorous, passionate, tender, affectionate. It's a person with romantic beliefs or attitudes, idyllic, picturesque, basically. So despair in loving, amorously, picturesque. How does that go together? Like, I don't want any desperation or despair or hopelessness in my love life, in my marriage, in anything. Like, I want to be, whole. And then that's another thing. That, you complete me. That you complete me mess. Like, that's totally inaccurate. You're supposed to be complete before you come to a relationship, because two pieces, no, they're not coming together to make a whole. You need to be whole within yourself and be healthy within yourself, and then the person comes together. Do y'all get what I'm saying about the metaphors that are, the love metaphors that we kind of like practice every day, but we don't realize that words have meaning? I'm going to look up this for y'all. Okay, okay, so this is, okay, so death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. You should know a man by his fruit, okay? The words that you speak have power. They can bring things into fruition, okay? AKA shall eat the fruit thereof. So if you always profess negativity, and maybe even if you're like unaware, like that's why when you pray, you should always make sure you pray that, Lord, if I've said anything that may have caused a curse, or if I've said anything or did anything, whether it be unconsciously or subconsciously, please correct and perfect those things in me that are not, because you don't want to be professing these things and then it's springing forth or bringing forth the fruit of these words in your life. It's Brittany Chanel, and this was like me talking about, words and the language that we use to define love. And I will be back with more, inspirational talk for y'all. It's Brittany Chanel, you already know. Bye. Peace and blessings to y'all.